And Raquel, sorry I didn't say hi either.
Very empty conference room.
Yeah,
There's one
Maria.
person here in attendance. Raquel, do you know why I'm echoing?
Well, two people in there.
4, 5.
I was hearing an echoing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Let me know when you're ready, Maria. I think we got a quorum, so we could start whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I just don't want to echo the whole thing.
You mute yourself there and you'll still be picked up on the room.
I tried that. Can you hear me still? Can you hear me?
Yes.
We hear you, but there's a definite echo.
I tried
I
that
don't, ha-
before.
I don't
It's
have
a
an
big,
echo.
that big cavernous room with only two people in it, echoing at the walls.
Okay, so we are recording on YouTube, recording to the cloud. We have everybody present. And whenever you're ready to call to order, I can read the legal and we can get on our way.
Sorry, Maria. I didn't catch the tail end of that.
So we have everybody present, so
Yes.
whenever you're ready, you can call the meeting
Sure.
to order, or I can read the legal and we can do what we have to do.
Sure. Before I do that, I was going to ask Maria, since we're going to continuance, I don't think I need to go through the instructions.
Yeah,
I'll
that's
just-
fine.
Okay. So I'd like to, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the July 8th regular Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to introduce myself and the board. My name is Richard Gilbert. I'm the chair. To my left is John Zager, who's a regular member. Below him is Dennis Crow, who's a regular member. We have Steve Bischoff on the other side of my square here. And then above Steve, we have Dylan Stella, who will be seated as a regular member this evening. I'm not going to go through the instructions, so I'll ask our zoning officer, Maria Pitola, to please read the call to order, I guess. The
Sure.
posting for the meeting.
This is the legal notice for the Madison Zoning Board of Appeals, Madison, Connecticut. Notice is hereby given that the board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025, beginning at 7 p.m. in Meeting Room A, Town Campus, 8 Campus Drive, Madison, Connecticut, 06443. This is a hybrid meeting and attendees may also join via Zoom webinar through either the webinar link or call-in information below, www.zoom.us. Webinar ID 9200270210 password 388818, or call in 1646-558-8656. The following applications will be heard. 25-04 20 Park Avenue, map 16, lot 77, zone R3, owner Diane Daish, applicant Alexa Ashton, Point One Architects, variance request to section 3.6A to allow for 30.36 feet front yard setback where 38 is required, 30 feet plus 8 pursuant to section 2.9, and section 3.6C to allow 25.16 feet where 33 feet is required for rear yard setback 25 feet plus 8 feet pursuant to section 2.9. Application includes a coastal site plan. Copies of the applications are available for inspection in the Land Use Office. Further details on how to participate in the webinar are posted on the town website, www.madisonct.org. All written correspondence can be submitted to the Land Use Department via email, landuse@madisonct.org. Dial 203-245-5631 for assistance. Dated the 17th day of June, 2025. Richard Gilbert, Chair. This was published twice in the source, once on June 6, 2025, and once on June 3, 2025.
Thank you, Maria. So I understand the application 25-04 for 20 Park Avenue is requesting a continuance to next month.
Yes, a few of their representatives were not available.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion then to the board that we have a continuance to next month for application 25-04 for 20 Park Avenue. Can I get a second? Do we
Second.
need a
Second.
discussion? Do we need a discussion?
No, I would just state that it is the August 12th meeting.
Thank you, and I'll amend that. That's the August 12th regular zoning board of appeals meeting. Any
Second
discussion?
stands.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, and that passed. And I think we have to approve minutes.
So now
Does
that
anyone have, sorry, do you have the date on that, Maria? I'm not looking at them.
on the minutes,
Yeah,
they were the May 13th minutes.
May 13th. Anybody want a motion?
I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes from that meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that passes unanimously. And Maria, you said we could move on to the item you
Yes, I
mentioned
have
in your.
One matter for discussion. We did hear a variance request for a few months ago. Trying to see, when was it done? It was approved on April 8th, application 2501-105 Hartford Avenue. The owners were Dorothy and Donald Budnick. They requested a variance to section 11.1 to allow an accessory building to be placed within their front yard, and section 12.6 to expand a non-conforming structure. It also had a coastal site plan. The variance was approved. They were asking to tear the building down, build it, which was located in the front yard, and build it larger and taller than what it was. It was approved, and the signed certificate of variance said that it was approved, must conform to the plans entitled site plan, and it was Budnick 105, and then there's a date of when the plans were from Dewey Dickinson. So they had to conform to those plans that were approved, and now they would like to make a change. They would like to add a Bilco, which there was a staircase that was interior going up to a loft and a staircase interior going down to the basement. Now they want to add an exterior Bilco, eliminating the need for the stairs down interior. I'm assuming that they're trying to gain a little more usable floor space. So it's not something that, although the Bilco will comply, it's not something I can just approve because it is a change to a variance. That was, plans that are, a building that's supposed to be built specifically to a set of plans. So the thought process behind it, and after conferring with town council, is it's up to you if you think it's de minimis enough to just, approve it, go for a modification, or would you like, hear it again for a formal modification, or would you just be approved? It's your choice.
Does the Bilco break any setback rules or anything like that?
The Bilco will comply, but it's just not to the plans, I can't make that decision when it's something that's approved by variance to add additional things onto the site plan.
Yes, Steve, when we state the variance, we say it must adhere
Yeah, I know that.
exactly
I'm
to
just saying,
the,
but if
yeah.
the Bilco door, does it create another, variance that has to be addressed, right? Or is it just part of the normal building, right? It meets all the setbacks and everything else.
So let me think that through. If it's compliant, then you could put it in without a variance at any time later, but you might need a second building permit to do it later. And that's, you know, so just because of the technicalities, you know, how do you juggle that? I mean, do you say, you know, just get a second building permit, put it in subsequently, or you know, a Bilco door? Are they talking about installing the metal uh, frame over top of the stairs? That's typical of a Bilco door, right? Is that what we're talking
We're
about?
putting in the stairs too.
They're
Tom.
eliminating, they're
Oh,
eliminating.
because they're adding the stairs too.
stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're adding the
Assuming
stairs,
for
too.
whatever use, you know, there, I don't know what the whole reason behind it is. Gain more floor space, use, you know, the basement more efficiently. I have no idea. You know, my first thought was to have it, that it should be a modification, but that's not up to me. That's up to you.
Is mine or
I-
is it? Oh, go ahead, Dennis, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, as minor as a thing that this is, it seems, I'm wondering if a modification would be the way to go. I'm not sure what the other commissioners, what you guys think. I mean, it is, I've never had this happen before, so.
No.
Is there an old plan? If we can just look at what they're trying to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
That's the one. That's the one where the garage. You know, you drove down. They come to the end of the road, and there's the house on
Yes,
the left,
it's at
and the
the end of the
garage is
road, right.
off to the other side there. So
So this is the garage over here.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one. Yeah.
Maria, would you mind
Yeah.
blowing it up a little? Oh, there it is. Okay.
And then this is the garage, like, you know, front and side view.
mhm.
And so, Maria, exactly, sorry, what do they want to do again? Eliminate?
So see, there's interior stairs to go up to a loft and down to the garage. I mean, down to the basement. They have it's a full foundation basement. And they want to eliminate the stairs interior going down and put a Bilco on the outside. So here's the basement stairs here. They want to eliminate the set of stairs that go to the basement, keep the ones in the loft, and put a Bilco on the outside. And I do have a plan.
So essentially, they're trying to save themselves room on the inside because it's a
Probably.
tight fit. Yeah.
More room for cars.
Do have
Right.
Yeah, but then you got to go outside to go to the garage, to go to the basement.
I don't know how to, I mean, it's, again, it's not,
What if they just put in a fireman's pole? You know, So, of course, those are hard to go up. Dylan could do it, but the rest of us are too old.
Yeah. I guess like what I'm thinking here is that had it been in the original plan, it's doubtful it would have influenced our decision in many way. This, you know, this seems relatively minor and not necessarily relevant to the like variance it was requested. So I'd be in favor of just approving it. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dylan. I don't think it would have affected our, so Maria, town council said
I have
their
to raise-
opinion is that we could do
I
this.
don't have the authority when it's, here's the site, hold on, here's the news of the site plan, what they want it to look like. I don't have the authority to override if you've approved something by a variance to add it, whether it complies or not, it's just like a Natra. It wasn't built according to plan, came after, wanted to add something that would comply, but it's not built according to the specific plans called out in the variance. I don't have that authority.
So what would this be? If we say fine, then what is it? Do you just, as zoning officer, you give them approval
Either like
to?
hold on, here's the bill, here's the bill, I don't, can you see that, or should I make it bigger?
Yeah, So I mean, so if we approve it, then as zoning officer, can you go and say to them, yes, this is approved? Or how does that work?
So if you believe if you think it's de minimis, then you could say, you could go ahead and it's fine and you don't need it to be formally, modified,
Okay,
back with a modification to add this to the site plan.
so,
And that changes, it would just, could come back next month and, you could say there was a modification, you approve it, and then the certificate gets, revised and refiled in the town clerk's office.
So, all right, so basically I don't understand the any legal ramifications here. You've got a plan here, but we don't see any written notice from them or what they want to do, or what all it entails. And they're in the middle of construction, probably.
No,
Or
there's been no
about to start
numbers filed.
about to start it. Yeah, and they don't.
They have
But
not filed
but-
anything.
But I'm not. I just don't understand the legal ramifications. I don't have a problem with the concept. I'm confused as to how we officially do that. There's what paperwork do we have to back it up? We don't have a hearing number to file. I mean, I don't know. I guess we have an application number, but
I guess we'd have a motion. But
yeah,
like
but
you
how,
said,
what's-
Dennis,
what's-
there is no written request did they just call you, Maria, or did they submit something in writing?
They emailed and asked if there could be a modification.
Oh, okay,
They wanted to do this, and it's not, again, when you're the governing body for this, they ask for a variance. I cannot, whether it complies or not, I can't okay this because this site plan, this project was approved by variance. I don't have the authority to make a modification in it without bringing it to you. And your choices are, if you don't think it's, de minimis, and to say, like you said, you could say it's not that, you don't believe it's a big enough change, or you want it neat, tidy, in a bow, and you could say they should come back for a modification, and it could be, the certificate could be revised to include the Bilko on the site plan.
could we
Or-
see the email, please?
Excuse me?
Could we see the email, please, the request?
Hold on, I don't know if I have the whole email here. Let's see. Whoops.
So how does the rest, Dylan, you said you're okay, Steve and Dennis, John, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely okay with the concept. I just want to make sure
Mhm.
we have a legal, the right steps followed. And do we have?
Like a paper trail or something, right? To that effect.
Yeah, and a paper trail and also the
Hold on a sec, yep,
legal.
I even have my conversation after that I had with the town attorney, so hold on.
Can we
one
just
second.
say subject to town attorney approval?
No, it's not the town attorney's approval, because again, you're the governing, so
See,
there was. Homeowners are wondering if they can add a bill code to the garage door, 1-to-1 setback, 6 feet from the property line. Is there any objection to this since it was not on the variance approval? I wanted to recalculate the floor area, because taking out the staircase would add floor.
yeah,
Would add additional floor area. Wanted to make sure they were okay. They also are planning other renovations to their property. So, coverage floor all had to be added. And then she didn't see any more thoughts on the Bilko, asked about the future plans. We wanted to make sure because they made it larger than what it was, we wanted to make sure that their future plans, they would not have to come back for any more variances. Put together the calculations. And then here's my response. Following a thorough review and discussion with the town council, it's been determined that while the addition of the bill code itself might meet the zoning regulations, any changes to the plans that were specifically approved as part of the variance should be reviewed by the zoning board of appeals. I can bring this proposed change to their attention at our next meeting. At that time, the board can decide whether to consider it a minor adjustment or if they recommend scheduling another public hearing. Just to reiterate, variances are granted based on particular justifications, and the approval of the plans explicitly reference the certificates in the certificates tied to those reasons. So if you think it's minor, you could say, you could all agree that it's minor this time and you're okay with it, or do you think it warrants a public hearing again so any neighbors can see it, talk about it, discuss it, and then modify the certificate?
Okay, well, let's do this then. Let's try to write down in some words. I don't know if you want to type it while we talk and, put it up on the screen and type out something that says, okay, here's what we would approve, and put a definition of it, and then say the board made a motion to approve that as a de minimis modification, and it was approved. But let's
That'll
get
be
the
in the-
words. Let's get the words down that basically say what it is that the plan to change is, so that we can have that in a motion and make it clear.
So could we just reference your email, Maria? We could say referencing the email displayed during the meeting.
I'm not sure that the email was concise enough to say that's, I'd like to get it so that we can say changes are this, and this,
Okay.
change, get rid of the one staircase, put the Bilko door in. Is there something else? I don't know, but let's get it down and get a couple of bullet points and say what it is. And
Reference the previous, the previous application number. And that the addition of a bill code would be, de minimis, and the zoning officer can approve the
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, we consider it minor enough that we don't require another hearing or a modification. I think we could say that, Maria.
yeah, but let's get the words.
That's fine.
Let's get the words down to define what it is that we're agreeing to.
I don't even know if we have to make a motion. I mean, it's not an item on the agenda, but as long as, it'll be in the minutes that,
We have to have a motion to vote to approve it. Can't just say everybody wagged their head yes,
So I could take a stab at a variance, Dennis, unless, are you good with that? It'll be in the minutes, it'll be written.
Well, yeah, I would, yes, I agree.
it's
However,
in the minutes, so yeah.
I'm,
There's no item on the agenda. It's a discussion. There wasn't anything, advertised to the public. So if you make a motion, you'd have to advertise an action, and there was no
Oh, okay.
there's no item on the agenda. It would be in the minutes if you.
so how it's going to be in the minutes to say that we agreed to it. If we don't, if we don't have a vote, how,
Motion, it just doesn't have to be,
if we don't have a vote, how can you say we agreed to it?
so you give me your opinion now. You gave your opinion, Rich is giving his opinion.
I mean,
I'd like to see it in writing what it is that my opinion is agreeing to. And and if it's a couple of bullets, let's get that written out and say that, the they requested the permission to do this, this, and this, and the board agreed to that without objection or whatever. I wouldn't mind that, but I would want to see it written out. The Bilko door, removal of a staircase, whatever it is, just because I'm not sure I get the whole understanding. It looked to me, what I saw in those drawings, it looked like the the other staircase was moved, but I could be wrong. I don't know how to interpret what they actually.
I have the architect on the, she's here at the meeting, if you'd like to talk to Nicole, and she can explain what it is.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
please go ahead.
Okay.
you're Nicole, right?
I am, yes. I work for Duo Dickinson. I prepared the drawings.
Okay, good. You did a good job.
Thanks. So we did start kind of bidding out the project after we got the variance approval, and because it is a structural concrete floor, the prices came back pretty hefty. Also, it is pretty tight to fit the SUV cars that they have in there. So the plan was to eliminate the stair going to the basement, which will just be for storage, and using the Bilko to access the basement. And then this would also allow the structural floor of the garage to be a much simpler construction because it doesn't have any holes or voids in it. There will still be a co-compliant stair that goes up to the loft, and that will be right in the middle of the garage, kind of wedged in between two cars.
Okay, all right. So let's back up a second. I'm writing this down a little bit. Okay, the first one is eliminate the stair to the basement.
Mhm.
Adjust the floor, the square footage of the floor of the.
No, so when I did the floor area, I actually always count the first floor area in entirety. So the floor area of the garage did not change at all.
What about the first floor?
We already worked out the floor area.
I don't know what we already worked it out means.
No,
We're not.
Nicole
We're not.
Nicole and I.
Let me
already
ask the
worked-
question. Let me ask the question. So, I thought I heard adjust the floor square footage, but you're on the main floor there. But if that's not the case, I'll erase it.
Yeah, so when I do floor area calculations, I always count the full first floor entirety, even with the stair opening.
Okay, so that's
so-
not. So it's not changing.
Correct, 100%.
Okay.
It's the same numbers.
Okay. How about the basement?
Well, the basement doesn't count for floor area.
Okay. So, is there anything that we have to say about we're changing anything in the basement?
No.
No,
Dennis,
just
we're just commenting on the Bilko. We're not hearing this whole application again. We're just commenting on the Bilko.
I'm asking what the changes are. Okay. So let's keep going. Okay. So we're going to add a basement exterior.
Dennis, my problem is you're getting very close to holding a hearing. That's my problem.
I'm simply asking what it is that you're asking us to go along with. Okay. So you're adding a basement exterior door and Bilko coverage, right?
yes.
All right. So right now I've got only two things you're asking us to approve. Is that right?
No,
Technically, it would just be one. I'm just asking to add a Bilko basement door access.
And eliminate the stair.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Maria, do they have regulations over the interior stair?
Just let me just suggest if that's all there is, we're ready to move forward. I don't think we need to go any farther.
Okay.
Okay. So if what you're saying is and if you capture this in the minutes, they've made it, the architect has come in and said she would like to eliminate the stair to the basement and add a basement exterior door and a Bilco covering to it. And those are the changes she would like to make.
Correct.
Okay. So at that point, I think I'm ready to say I have no objections to those changes.
John, what's your,
I agree.
and I agree too. I think
No
this is-
objections.
Yep, no objections. Dylan, Dylan, you already said
Yeah,
what you
I have
thought.
no objection.
And Steve?
I agreed with Dylan.
Okay.
Okay,
So
so
we've got
I think we're good.
we've got the statement of what the need was, and we had said no objections to that. That's de minimis, right? We good?
So we good, Maria? I think,
Yep.
Thank you
Perfect.
guys very much. I
Okay.
appreciate your time.
Okay.
sure.
Yep,
Thank you.
I just wanted
No
to make sure we knew what the request specific was. Okay.
Any other business, Maria?
Nope.
Well then, having said that, I guess motion to adjourn.
Second.
All
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Well, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Night.
See you next
Good night.
Night.